if you did like a queer quadrant, but for albums, what would be like your top, like what would be some of your favorites?
Evermore by
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Oh no.
Well, because
Oh,
if we're talking like well, yeah,
For sure, for sure, for sure.
all right.
we talk about a little bit. We talk about a little bit of everything. Of course, we'll talk about like again Jennifer's Body. I don't. That's not queer subtext. That's just queer
It's just-
text. Yeah, but we'll also talk about again like the Point Breaks and the Top Guns and the Matrixes of the world. So that's my Evermore by Taylor Swift is my like sneak, just because I think it would truly be a fascinating album to talk about. But I'm so biased, but like I would love to talk about Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, even though I already talked about it on the show. I would love to talk about Expectations by Haley Kiyoko, which was like a very
Ooh,
early
yes.
kind of
Hear
like
that one, yeah.
queer album for me back when artists were not, I don't know, at least artists in that genre me were not really making like queer music. That was like
She was like a trailblazer, like the very
she
explicitly.
was, yeah, like a very explicit, like that's what she was kind of like pushing for was like, I
Yeah.
want to sing about kissing women. And then let's see, again, I feel like I have to think in fours. I'd love to do a George Michael album, but I like which one? I think probably Listen Without Prejudice. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just good advice in general in this, in
Indeed.
2025. Just like listen without prejudice. And that's what Lady Gaga is talking about in one of what the Come to Mama. That's what she's talking about also. And we're gonna talk about Joan on this episode of I've Been Meaning to Listen to That. Click.
Remember that record that you bought me like 2 years ago? Well, I just remembered that it's sitting in the closet. So I called you up just to tell you I've been meaning to listen to that. I've been meaning to listen to that. Why don't you come over and talk about it? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Why don't you come over and talk about it?
Did you
Okay.
call it Joan?
Joanne?
Joanne.
Okay. No.
We can fix it in post.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Joan.
Joanne, of course.
Joan.
No, I got it. Like, I was having a conversation, like, I love Joan, and then someone corrected me, and then like they didn't even know what I was talking about, and so they had to correct me, and then I made the mistake just now.
If we were talking about Fun Home, you would have been right.
Mm-mm.
We're not talking about.
Very much not talking about fun though. But hi everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to I've Been Meaning to Listen to That, the podcast where we go through albums we've been meaning to listen to and use it as conduit to learn about each other and our guests. I'm Andrew Ambrose Lee.
I'm Dakota Foss. I'm Steph Senior.
And I'm Brooke Solomon.
Yeah, Brooke Solomon's here, the host of Queer Quadrants and writers extraordinaires. Let's go. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk about an album that I care very deeply about.
Yeah, like when we sent the email, like we sent like a bunch of options of like Lady Gaga albums and like Lord albums and like just a few other smatterings here and there. And I was like kind of concerned of like who's gonna choose the Joanne episode, who's gonna choose the Solar Power episode, but you just like immediately like that was like your only choice. Like I'll do Joanne, like I'll do Joanne. So, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I feel the need to defend this album. I love, love, love this album. And I think I don't know, like I get it. I totally got what she was going for. And I know that this album isn't for everyone, so I felt the need to protect it. I was like, I have to talk about it because I love it and I think that I can. Anyone can talk about how amazing melodrama is, but can anyone talk about what a masterpiece Joanne is? I don't know. That's why.
But no, I love it. I love it. Like I love that passion. And Stefanie, like you are also a big Joanne defender as well. Like
Yeah, I'm a Joanne apologist. I didn't listen to it when it first dropped, I don't think, but I the discourse of my like peers was like, oh, it's not very good. It's not one of her best albums. And so like even though like critically it was really well reviewed, but I like felt like everybody that I knew who had heard it just like panned it and really hated it. Because when you're used to like Lady Gaga doing dance music, this isn't that. And so I listened to it and I was like, I don't understand what everybody's losing their minds about. And I revisited it last year, 2 years ago. I think it was last year. It doesn't matter. Recently, basically when like Cowboy Carter dropped and we were all in like glam country hot girl summer, I was like, oh, guess what? Listen, we revived art pop. We need to revive Joanne. Because
That's
everybody hated art pop when it came out too, and now we all love it. She's ahead of her time. We didn't know.
that's the thing about Lady Gaga is that she is always like ahead of the culture by a few years. Like I remember so vividly when Brat dropped, people were like, okay, if like the whole world is Brat tilts, can we revisit art pop, which like was Brat before Brat? And I feel like it's the same with the general country trend, is that it's like this was hated on, but almost every mainstream artist has had like, if not a full
Joanne,
country album
yeah.
phase, then like either like a sort of like soft alternative album, a country album, or like a country phase where they have like a very strong single or a very strong like vibe or moment where they're like in a country era.
Also, this is the real me kind of stripped back a little bit kind of vibe too. But let's back up like even further than that. Brooke, what's your relationship to Lady Gaga herself?
Huge fan ever since Born This Way, realistically. I think that the album, that's probably when I came to her. I was slightly too young for the fame when it first came out. But yeah, I just think when you're 12 or 13, Lady Gaga hits like nothing has ever hit. I just loved how fun her music was, and I think that like being into her from such a young age taught me a lot about like the world through music, not just kind of like Born This Way, but I remember like listening to stuff like Alejandro and being like, oh, I feel like this has taught me about a whole genre of music that I wouldn't have experienced for a couple of years. Because she's always been really clear and original with her references, including country. Like she was doing You and I before she did Joanne. So I've always been a really big fan. I think that around art pop, sort of similar to everyone, I was like, oh, it's cool, but like it's not the hits, but I wasn't really being critical of music. And then for whatever reason, when Joanne came out in 2016, I was a sophomore in college. I don't know, maybe I was like just sad and was missing the country. But this hit me like a freight train, and I was like, this is the kind of country Americana, like rockabilly music that I've been looking for. Why isn't everybody doing this? Why can't I listen to like 10 different albums of my favorite female singers doing this? And I feel like this album, again, because of just like the age I am, was the gateway for me to go back and be like, okay, I need to listen to like Dusty Springfield. I need to listen to like Susie and the Banshees. I need to go like back and listen to all these cool like women of Americana, basically, is what I'll call the overarching genre. I'm very much a tourist in the music space, so I'm probably not going to be super accurate, but the Americana sound is what I will say.
No, I really, first of all, just want to commend you. I really admire that curiosity of just like, just a lot of people just like, oh, I think this is cool, and then they stop. Like, I really admire that curiosity and that like desire to like understand the context and understand the history. I think that's incredible. Yeah, but what about Stefanie? Like, what's your Lady Gaga history and relationship to her?
Lady Gaga secretly is like, actually, I was getting my haircut recently, and the guy who cuts my hair was like, "Who's your like pop girly?" And she's like, "Is it like Beyonce? Is it Gaga? Is it?" And I was like, "It's got to be Gaga." And like, I didn't even realize that she had taken up so much space in my life. She like did it secretly, but I've listened to like so many of her albums, and like, I'm now in the cycle of like every time she drops an album, I'm listening to it on day one, and like, I listened to Chromatica 100 times when it came out. I literally just like ran through the way I did with Cowboy Carter. Like I listened to Chromatica and like it would end and then I would just repeat it. Like it was, but I think I was a sophomore in high school when Just Dance charted. And that was like her introduction to the world, basically. And it was in a time of like pop music was deeply uninteresting in the like pre 2010, like in that era, just like what, 2008, 2007, 2008, like as she was getting famous. Pop music was so fucking uninteresting. And I'll throw hands with anybody. I mean, I won't throw hands, but we can have a longer conversation about that. But it was so deeply fucking uninteresting. It was all just like synth drum machine fucking overproduced bullshit, and it sounded like bullshit. And I think like Gaga came in and like hit the stride enough to be popular, and it was easy to sort of lose her. But then I like visited the whole album of the Fame, and I was like, oh shit, this is great. Like this single's fine, but the rest of this album is amazing. And it's just kind of gone uphill since then. You know what I mean? It's I think she like, it was also like I didn't understand, like the rest of the world, I didn't understand what she was doing. I didn't understand the persona because I was too young. But I love it. I'm obsessed with it. The meat dress, the like all the, all that like shock value shit that looked like shock value shit, but it turns out was just high, like Elton John-esque, like high theatrical camp. You know what I mean? Oh, delightful. So I don't know. She's just been in my life for such a long time, where in a way that I didn't really notice until recently. But she's my number one pop girly, so.
Mm-hmm. She truly is like so singular, and
Yeah.
you realize that so few people have been able to replicate both the authenticity and the kind of like high glam that she was doing. Not everyone has to put themselves out there, but like so few people do.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
and that she's been around as long as she has,
Mhm.
because she really could have been. Because I mean, you remember, this is also like she was doing her like sort of, she was in that it was her and like Nicki Minaj was doing a similar thing, and so it was sort of this competition of like who's going to be the weirdest artist, and then Nicki Minaj stopped doing it. Like it was clearly like a fake. I mean, it was clearly like she was in an era in the same way that like Taylor Swift is like always in an era where it's just like Taylor Swift's like an incredibly temporary like persona, and Gaga is not. And like, but the fact that she was that audacious and has stuck around and can like she's like almost at a point, she's at a point where she can reference herself, like she's like shaping the genre, like that's, I think the other thing that's cool is to like be alive to watch her like shape the pop music genre is phenomenal. It's so cool.
Mhm. And to see her, like go back to the well with Mayhem, and you're like,
Yes.
it's just as good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dakota, cut you off.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like,
So
every
my
time
opinion
Lady
is
Gaga. All right. Every time Lady Gaga says Gaga, an angel gets its wings.
Yeah.
You know?
I love when she says her own name on songs. It's like it's like a little thing that I love. It's great.
And it's like every time that she does, again, like a different, I remember when she was in like her Star is Born phase, she was sort of like performing old Hollywood ingenue glam, and it was so authentic, but yet you're like, I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, like, there may be like 4 people in a room, in a podcast Zoom room, but only one has to believe in you to like really change your life.
Some say that.
Yeah. I say that every interview.
Club. Another club. No sleep.
Next place.
That's a great iconic. But yeah, like, what about I guess like Dakota? We talked about your Lady Gaga history. We could touch on that a little bit, but I want to hear about where you were at the Joan era of her discography.
Like where I was when Joanne dropped.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is gonna be an interesting conversation, I think. Because when this album dropped, I remember, so the lead up to this, the first single that dropped from this, a lot of people forget about this. It was Perfect Illusion. And they made a big show about, she's teaming up with Kevin Parker, who is Tame Impala, who is actually just one guy, in case nobody knew that. But that dropped, and everybody was profoundly confused that it sounded nothing like a Tame Impala song. And I think I started off like kind of liking that song, ironically, because that song is obnoxious as hell. And the music video is really fun. It's like sexy disco in the desert like sort of deal kind of going on. And then I think after that she dropped A Million Reasons as the second single. I might be wrong about that.
You are correct.
Yeah, and Million Reasons didn't do it for me. And then the album dropped, and I just so you guys know, like as Andrew and I talked on some other episodes, loved all the other Gaga stuff. Like maybe not like Little Monster level, but Little Monster adjacent, Little Monster curious. But when
5'2"
Joanne
monster.
dropped, yes, yes,
5'2".
When Joanne dropped in full, I think I was just profoundly confused. I didn't see the through line. I didn't see the vision. I was confused by the concept. And coming after the creative hurricane that was art pop, that found her having a lot of personal and creative struggles. I think art pop is like pretty. I think that it's worthy of being relitigated. I think it's just okay. But I think it's an important album, if nothing else. And I didn't get it then. And so I went into this re-listen kind of with an open mind. And I think I actually ended up liking this album less. So I'm glad that we have two Joanne defenders here to defend them from me.
From you. Don't worry.
Yes.
I'm ready to fight.
I like Joanne, and it sells great fabric, or it used to at least. But yeah. But yeah, like I also the lady from Mad Men, she's great. But yeah, like I'd say
that is actually Joan.
Joan.
Let's give some respect to Christina Hendricks.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess like my understanding of this, like I didn't listen to this until like we did this episode. But my understanding was just this idea of like she hit the ground running with like Fame Monster, and then Born This Way, and then Art Pop was kind of like I think culturally, even though it's like being relitigated as a great album, it probably is. Like this idea of just like she's kind of jumping the shark with the Lady Gaga thing. She's like, there's only so much you can kind of like top yourself, like with the ridiculous, with the performance art and the outfits and all that such. And like, just really leaning into the weirdness of it all, and then also the Andy Warhol kind of performance art of it all. And then just like mathematically, you had to do this. Like mathematically, to kind of, one, I think just for your own personal maintenance, and then two, for like a cultural sort of like inventory of like, if she kept doing art pop level to this day, I think people would go like, this is too much. I don't know about this. But yeah, so like I understood this album as just like, okay, let's strip it back. Let's have this like kind of this pink cowboy costume I'm wearing here. Let's talk about myself. And then listening to it for the first time, I was very underwhelmed and confused. I initially wanted it to go deeper. I wanted it to really, really like explore like kind of the deeper, murkier stuff. But we got A Million Reasons basically. And what I understand this album to be now is sort of like someone entering therapy for the first time, and like kind of just like trying to make sense of all the stories you have in your head, and trying to make sense of your family's history, trying to make sense of like the fucked up things that happened to you, and like kind of just like trying to craft a more holistic like narrative of yourself. And like, especially when the world is so shit, especially when, she's lost a lot of her privacy by being famous. And then she's also like dealing with the dissolution of her engagement, and then the kind of like people not liking art pop, and like that hurting her feelings and such, and like dealing with the family trauma, that trying to understand her dad more, and trying to heal her dad, and trying to heal herself. That's what I understand this album to be. But what do y'all think?
I love 5'2", the documentary as well. The shot of her when she's like laying in her backyard and talking to, I don't remember who she's talking to, but she's like, it's too hot. And then it just pans over and she's topless. And she's like, I can't, it's too hot. I think about that clip all the time. It's a great doc. But yeah, I think that like the doc in kind of partnership with Joanne, it's kind of about this fluidity of like Lady Gaga, the larger than life icon. I think this is like, because this is still like this is like a persona, again, a very authentic persona that she's like connecting with. So I think this is kind of like the connection between crazy pop star Gaga and like singular actor, singer-songwriter Gaga. Like she kind of had to go through this transition period because I think that like Western music and Americana music, yes, it's about your roots, but it's also about like it's very story based. So I think like there is a lot of storytelling in this album, which is interesting because our other albums like have a lot of storytelling, and I think they were better received because it's like, oh, we get it. It's so huge and like it's so camp, and this is stripped back, but it's like it's still very story focused, which I like John Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
for example. And
Well,
I don't know, she gets Americana. So that's what I think this album is about.
yeah, I also want to say it's like going back to the therapy idea. It's like storytelling in like the stories you kind of tell yourself. The it wasn't love. Like that's like
Yeah.
even though that's like an anthem, it's a story you're telling yourself about yourself. And then what's it called? John Wayne of like this is the type of guy I follow. Like this is the type of guy I chase after and why I do it. I think it's storytelling in that way too.
I think for me, like with a lot of like what you guys just said, you know, with like the therapy and like this is very much a result of the fallout from art pop, not just critically, but also Gaga was like an addict at the time of art pop and, you know, went through hell, and then she did like, you know, the Tony Bennett stuff. This album to me kind of reads like she's so ready to kind of proclaim like this new persona of like I'm delving into the mythology of my family, and like, you know, it's stripped back, it's my most mature album yet, but it reads really inauthentic to me, like from just how much it's putting its foot forward without really like having the sort of heft to back it up. Like there is this one interview clip that like I think sums up this era for me so perfectly, where she's talking about, you know, because Joanne is her grandmother, correct? Or is it her great grandmother?
It's her aunt. It's her.
Or yes, sorry, it's her aunt. And she's going on and on about Joanne and like the mythology of Joanne and everything. And then like another family member was like, "What are you talking about? You never met her." like that was like a takeaway, like where people, you know, like just her own family was kind of like pushing back a little bit, being like, well, hold on now, like that's not really how things were with Joanne specifically, like the person. And so like I just think that the like I do agree, Andrew, like the math is mathing that this was the perfect time for her to take a step back, strip things down a little bit, and, you know, put out in air quotes like her most mature album yet. But I think my issues with it is that like we've seen her be capable of doing songs kind of in this vein before, like You and I or Speechless, two songs that I love a lot, and some other stuff too, you know, the Tony Bennett stuff. But like on here, like Dancing in Circles. Can we talk about Dancing in Circles?
Can we talk about how it's a great song? Absolutely. I'm so glad that you brought it up.
I don't know. Like I don't know. Is it really like the most mature stripped back thing, like Tribute to Your Aunt, where you have a song with a sitar that's just about masturbating?
It's very West. It's very West. I think
like
I don't know. To
I
me,
don't know.
I think like yes, this album is named after her aunt, but like I think that at least my interpretation is more about like soul searching and finding your place as an artist and how kind of like viscerally lonely it is, which again is like very Western, very Americana, like old school, like bluegrass to me, than necessarily like the more kind of like Italian side of her. Let me open the family history and like walk you through each Nona and Auntie. Um,
That's fair. Yeah. I just like, to me, I feel like I need to be a Grigio girl with Gaga the entire time that I'm listening to this, and like I just want to like tell her, like, believe in yourself. Like we don't get like the math is mathing almost like a little too much, where like this direction for her career with this thing, like I just feel like she's trying to be someone else, and it's lacking some of like the traditional Gaga charm for me.
This album also came out the year she turned 30, which is 30 is not a bad time to reinvent yourself, especially if you're because it's important to remember that she was what, 24 when Just Dance came out. She was
So
really
crazy.
fucking young when she got
That is
Dance.
insane.
And we're watching this happen with Chapel. We're watching this happen with Billie Eilish. I mean, Hit Me Hard. Not this is we've done an episode on this, but Hit Me Hard and Soft was an album about how fucking terrible it is to be famous so young, and like. 30 is not a bad time to be like, I'm a grown up now. You know what I mean? And in some ways, I would also say that like there are a lot of things that I think could be drafts of like Chromatica. One of the things Chromatica did well, I know this is not a Chromatica episode, but one of the things it does well is it's a dance album, but it fucking goes hard. Right? Like there are fucking songs on that album that you're like, my God, if you listen to the lyrics, you're like really fucking depressed. But then the whole point is to like dance it off. And I think there's like drafts of that in this album. Perfect Illusion is a great example. Is it, would it ever make the cut for like a Chromatica? No, but is it like I think that's like she's come back around to like her hyper pop roots, but I think you have to sort of deep dive here to be like, I'm a real songwriter, and these things can merge. And I think this is actually her lane as an artist, really, is like to merge that like moody, pop. You know what I mean? I think that's so. I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I also think that like it's hard for pop music to go deep because it's fucking pop music. It has to be consumable, it has to be palatable, it has to be hooky, you know what I mean? And I think that this is the beginning of her figuring out how to do that well.
Yeah.
And there's always the argument that like this isn't what I came to Lady Gaga for, but I think there is something with this just not lining up with the culture at the time. I think it would be much better received now. Yeah. Like also 2016 music is so not this. Like it's like the complete opposite of this. And that's why I mean that she's like, it feels like she kind of anticipates the culture without meaning to, because again, I just think about like the introspective album, the how terrible it is to be famous album, the kind of like going back to your roots and like wandering the desert and playing in like dive bars, like thing that so many artists are like, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to like escape from fame. And I think in some ways she did this album because she needed to, not because she necessarily like thought it would be such a huge success. The rollout of this album is very interesting to me, where it's like it's very old school. She did this thing called the Dive Bar Tour where she went and like played in
Bud
dive
Light.
bars. And I think she was doing that not necessarily because she needed sales, but because she was like, this is what feels right for this album.
She can sit at a piano. I mean, I mean, it's important that it was also a return to her as a piano player, because I think that was a thing we didn't actually know. She's like almost a virtuosic piano player.
And now she does it
do
at
well. And
every show.
That's what she does. She sits at a piano and she's like, I'm gonna fucking sing my face off and play piano, and that's how the concerts go. You know.
And sometimes she like has an alien mask on, but she's still like sitting at that piano. Yeah.
Sometimes you have 7, peacocks attached to the back of your head, and you're still just like bellowing into a microphone and playing piano like a G,
Which is why
Like
I
a
think
Gaga.
Mayhem's which is why I think Mayhem's my favorite Gaga album, is because it's all coming together. Like, they're like speechless moments on Mayhem, and they're like Star is Born moments on Mayhem, as well as the Just Dance of it all, and like the Alejandros and such. Well, I guess like a few points is one, one of the observations is like Gaga is known to like kind of go somewhat method in her like film roles, kind of like really really getting to the head. Like, so I feel like
Remember when the House of Gucci was haunting her? I live for her press tours. Like I am not being ironic. I am being so serious.
Big obnoxious theater kid energy. I
She's
think
so
that
great.
Her biggest revelation is going from like kind of rejecting that it was big obnoxious theater kid energy to like just inhabiting big obnoxious theater kid energy. And she takes it so
Totally.
fucking seriously that it's almost obnoxious, and it would be obnoxious if it wasn't authentic, but like big
Exactly.
obnoxious. As an obnoxious theater kid myself, game recognized game, you know?
Because you can say many things about theater kids, but they're usually pretty authentic.
Yeah, so like the joke I was gonna make was like is the idea like I love telegraphing sentences that way also.
The joke that we stepped all over.
Sorry.
No, it's not even that important. It's like just like the idea of like this is like the journey, like she like wrote an album to get in the mind of Allie Main, basically. Like this is like kind of what she like. This is her homework to get into the mind of Allie Main, basically.
Like this, I mean, the big joke is like you can kind of see it, but in my background, Alaska, the drag queen Alaska Thunderfuck did like a single that was based on Joanne, and she called it Regular Girl, and she has this like video where she's dressed like the way that Lady Gaga would dress like in this era with like the cutoff shorts and the super short crop tops and the high pony, and she's like, I'm a regular girl, just a regular girl, like, and that is like that's kind of the like thesis of this, like that's the send up of this era is like she's just a regular, she's not a clown, she's not a she's just a regular girl who wore a meat dress one time. Yeah.
But this is also, it's like, this is Taylor Swift going from like crazy, huge, bombastic lover era that totally flopped to like walking barefoot in the woods.
Yeah,
the blueprint is there.
Like, yeah, I will say that Joanne, I think that a lot of other artists benefited from Lady Gaga stepping out into the wilderness with this one, with where pop music was in 2016. Like, you're right. What was big in 2016? It was all the Chainsmokers. I was there. And there's a little bit of that here. Like, I would argue that some of the stuff on like with John Wayne feels like particularly dated to me with some of the production, but like for sure this kind of like is the connective tissue for Cowboy Carter, and even giving like Taylor permission to go back to, more folky stuff.
Kesha album she did after this.
Exactly.
Like that. That's a little
Miley. Miley was very inspired by this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do think like they're like this whole like what you guys were just saying, like, oh, I'm just a regular girl, like, and everything, like that to me is just like that is what this is, and that's like largely maybe my biggest problem with this era of Gaga and the intervening years between art pop and probably Chromatica, honestly, where it just felt like Gaga was trying so hard to prove that she was just like this artist, that we have to take her seriously. But I was already taking her seriously, like I'm sure that there were a lot of casual fans who were like, oh, she's doing the meat dress, she's making herself throw up on stage or whatever and doing all this crazy stuff. And like, yeah, she was doing all that stuff, but that doesn't mean that she's not like a serious, respectable artist. And like that is like the disconnect for me, I guess, like that. I just feel like this is really trying to prove something to me that I already fully believe. And when you have things like Million Reasons, just feels like a Target commercial to me, like a little bit. And I actually don't know, like, if we live in an alternate universe where Joanne came out today, I don't know what else would take this place to sort of be this particular landmark in the greater pop sphere or whatever. I don't necessarily know if it would be like as well received as or better received now, because I feel like this is like very much a like wine mom record rather than like kind of Cowboy Carter that's like a little more like youthful, like 20s, like kind of Barbie coded. I don't know. With the
I think
Western.
that's a fair point. Yeah, I totally feel you on that. I think that underrated strength that Joanne has is that it is very cohesive, in my opinion. I think like the sound and the themes are cohesive. Cowboy Carter is too. Like I fucking love Cowboy Carter. But that like for a genre experiment, I can listen through to this album and be like, okay, there's an arc here. I don't want to like throw strays at Haim, a band who I love very deeply, but I like just listened to I Quit and I was like, this kind of feels like a collection of songs and
And
not
you
an
were
Oh,
like,
that
I
that,
quit,
that
girl.
album, yeah, that album is a greatest hits. Like it's
That-
all over the place.
It is such, and I love them, but like I don't know. I give a lot of credit to Lady Gaga for at least having a really strong, clear vision of what she wanted to do, whether or not it was well received. Like, yeah, it's a wine mom album, but it's pretty unapologetically a wine
Yeah.
mom album.
It's absolutely unapologetically that for sure. Like
So the
I feel
Grigio
like
girls.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I will say that it, despite this coming out when she was turning 30, like I feel like this is serving an underserved population like with visibility in the pop sphere, and that is like late 30s, 40-year-old, like 50-year-old like moms, Like not everything has to be like youth all the time.
It's that joke in Atlanta of like, someone was criticizing Flo Rida and like the Lakeith Stanfield character was like, I like Flo Rida. Moms need rap too. Like just like
They
that
do.
idea. But yeah, like I guess like I want to like before we get into like songs, I want to like kind of circle back on one of the points Dakota made like a while ago about how her family members were like, wait a minute, that's not completely you didn't even meet Joanne and such.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson, like that's not true, Ellen.
Like,
It's not the truth, Alan.
like the two Dakotas are like real truth tellers in this society. But,
Yeah. Shout out to Dakota.
but I guess like I would say that's really interesting in terms of like her framing of the album and these interviews are all about how Joanne died when she was 19 from lupus. And it was kind of like exacerbated by like the sexual assault she went through. And then it kind of like wrecked her father. It like really like messed him up. And then the way her dad would, even though they seem to have a good relationship and her dad loves her very much, there's this kind of like, I think the anger of losing someone so young and so senselessly translated into like this anger towards life, and then kind of this overprotectiveness towards Stefanie, Lady Gaga, and then this like, so like this like one thing that happened before she was born, like set in motion this entire like wave of like generational trauma, like, and I've been thinking about these things a lot myself as someone who my mom told me recently that I had this caretaker when I was like 1 year old, and like she took care of me when I was like 0 to like 1, and I had like a real attachment and bond, and I didn't even know about it, and then that like contributed to like some of my attachment issues and some of like this person I relied on and counted on, and then just like I didn't know where they went like later. And then later in life, I didn't really know about this. And then just like, I'm also thinking about like my grandfather, who's like his death, like caused like this fracturing in our family that is like, we're trying to like, my dad was really impacted by, and then my mom carrying my dad's pain that really impacted them. So it's just like this, something like just like trying to embody this spirit or like capture the spirit, and then trying to heal herself and her family, which is like a really, I just like think that's such a interesting framing of the album, but also kind of like really sad to me of like she takes it on herself to try with her art to heal her dad of something that she didn't even know this person and everything. Like I think that's really sad and beautiful. maybe a little like short-sighted, but very noble and very wonderful. So
I mean, I think like if you're not reckoning with family shit in your art, you should start because you definitely have some to reckon with. And like I think that Joanne and by extension, like the whole sort of tapestry of her family is like a story that she tells herself, like everything is. I love Sinner's Prayer as a song because I think again that's like it just captures the sense of like longing and the knowledge that you're not going to be able to fix your family's problems, but you can try. And so much of Americana music and again like the West. If you can't tell, I'm like really obsessed with like the West and like Western, the kind of like how Western like ideology in the West, like America at all, affects so much of our culture. And I think, yeah, there's this idea of like you just got to carry on and you got to figure out like how to make your personal peace with it. And a lot of these songs are, I think, like kind of trying to reach for that and how often we fall short. Like it's a pretty sad album, but like you can ultimately find through the arc of the album that like what she finds comfort in is the women around her, like Grisia Girls and Hey Girl and even Joanne, the
yeah,
song. Yeah.
yeah. Like I kind of interpret a lot of this album as like the way I read Fame Monster was like a big theme of that album was all about how men are monsters, like in terms of like both like capable of doing like really awful, heinous, shitty, like abusive things, but also monsters in terms of like the framing of like a monster movie where like a monster deserves to be loved. A monster, like, maybe is misunderstood and like deserves like a framing of some sort, or like a
Hmm.
reframing of like who they are. And like, I guess like there's, I think like that what's introduced here is like kind of this like woman as like healer, woman as angel kind of idea, like which is like somewhat problematic. Like, like, maybe that's like too much to like.
It's very Americana.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm like saying. Like this idea that like the spirit of Joanne and like the loss of Joanne as a sister like affected, like created this like toxic dysfunction and such, and like the healing of like you're saying, like the Florence and the Machine song and Come to Mama, like all that
Hmm.
stuff. It's like kind of this. Yeah, I think that's very interesting.
There's definitely like there definitely is something I do think that this is like an interesting release with how much Gaga turns like the history into this mythology that like we have this little window into of like that's not true, Ellen. Like I think that there's like that potential like that is an interesting dissonance to me. How much this album has almost this like worship, and then just that tiny peek into like, well, it's not totally how that sort of went because she was feeling really like creatively and personally adrift for those couple of years after art pop, and like I think all of this sort of like maternal instinct stuff that she's like really gravitating towards is like it's almost like a sobering like journey with like religion almost, of here's my aunt and like part of the story and like how it impacted me, and like this is what I need to gravitate to like stay on this straight and narrow. I know that she kind of fell off like I know Chromatica kind of also came out of like a bunch of addictions, so I'm not going to pretend to be the authority on like what happened after this, but like I think the lead up there's a clear line that has a lot of interesting things going on, and so like there's definitely a lot that like going on in this album, out of the album, and like that is interesting to me. So to give a point of praise, yeah, everything that you just said, Andrew, I agree. It's
Yeah.
there.
And like to Andrew's sort of story, like your personal story, how often does one's family tell you the truth? How often are you taking the scraps of what people have decided that they feel comfortable or not comfortable telling
Hmm.
telling you about and building your own narrative?
Totally.
And I think like there's a certain element of you just have to like make do with what is given to you. You just like
Mhm.
have to like live. Like you can't just like sit in your room and just think about these things. You're gonna go nuts. Okay, but like let's talk about some highlight songs. Brooke, what of Joanne is speaking to you?
So
I'm not. I swear I'm not trying to like say it. Like,
my favorite song on the album is John Wayne, Sorry Dakota.
down, down.
Yeah, I love it because it feels again like Lady Gaga performs country, basically. I really also love AO. That I think is like the yeah of
Oh,
this album, where it's just
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
a
That's a good
big
call.
like
Yeah.
country boot stomping song. I've said that I really like Sinner's Prayer. That song like kind of always makes me cry or makes me feel like melancholy. But like You and I also is a song that like makes me feel melancholy. So it's not like I'm like, oh, this song is so dark. It's just more like it hits a tone that really gets to me. And I love Dancing in Circles. I think I talked
You
about
said
this.
you said you have a soft spot for songs about masturbation, like last.
Honestly, I am very interested in songs, particularly from female artists that are tackling that I think like very specific emotion. And once you start thinking about it and like looking into it, there are so many songs about having a great night with yourself. Like they're everywhere. A recent one that I enjoy is Guilty as Sin by Taylor Swift, but like Party for One by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Hey, that song is a bop.
Yeah, disco tits. Like
The
obviously guilty
chapel
pleasure.
one.
Guilty
Yeah.
pleasure. Yes. Touch My Hand by Britney Spears. Like, come on. So good. No Idea by Muna. They're everywhere. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's like the idea of like the interior life of a woman is like really
Yes.
that's an interesting part of that.
This kind of taboo thing that is often kind of like frowned upon. But I also love like the arrangement of that song. The
It's the
like
weirdest like produced song. Yeah.
no, no, do. Yeah, it's great. Those are my highs.
Mine are similar. I think mine are I love AO. That was on my like country girlies list. Right next to Texas Hold'em, right next to, you know what I mean? It was all on that list. I do like John Wayne, and I like Sinner's Prayer. Sinner's Prayer is a song I found because I did a show a long time ago, and it was kind of religion coded, so I threw that song was in a show that I worked on. But those are like my three highlights. But I do think the run of songs from John Wayne to Sinner's Prayer fucking slaps. Like I think they all go well together. I like the back-to-back of Perfect Illusion and Million Reasons. I don't know that they're necessarily built to be connected, but when you listen to them back-to-back, I like the way they work together. Because the sort of story that's being told is like this was not real love, and then the next thing that she's sort of saying is I have a million reasons to leave, and I just need one to stay.
There could be a million reasons in a room, but you only need
But
one.
you only need one. That's what I came. That's after that. No. But yeah, those are I think those are my three as well. Also, this album, maybe compared to the albums before it, I think is the most fun to sing. I really like music that I can sing along to, and like her vocals were one of the things that got praised on it, and rightfully so, because I think she does a lot of really great vocal work on this, and it's not very produced vocal, and I think this is one of the first times we really got to see like a good range out of her. But yeah, if nothing else, like, is John Wayne a great song? Maybe not, but isn't it so fun to just yell, I'm strung out on John Wayne? Like, it's so fun to do that. And AO is the same way. Just, yeah, they're just fun to scream. And sometimes you need to scream.
Also like the textures of her voice, like not just like the technical ability, but like the textures. Like she studied a lot of like Bruce Springsteen and Bob Dylan, and like kind of there's like some like Neil Youngy, Willie Nelson qualities to some of these songs. Like it's real like I think yeah, and also what like my highlight if we're talking about that is Joanne, like the song. Just like this really I think she said she did it in one take. And then they said not. I think the producer like Mark Ronson said like don't touch the vocals, just like keep it as is, like don't like. So there's like a little shakiness as she's like kind of finding it, and like also like opening up of just like this is like such a vulnerable thing to share with the world, like publicly. And then just like the beauty of her dad like reading, like kind of listening to the lyrics and going, how did you know that was how I felt? Like that's such a beautiful thing. Like that's like, so the imagination and like the just the impulse to do this, and like this desire to heal is so beautiful.
Yeah, there's something so, and a lesser vocalist, I don't think this would be true for, but Gaga's so talented. She like she's such a great vocalist that like the roughness of Joanne is kind of what makes it great, because she could have done, you know, she's a talented enough singer that she could have done a version of that that's really soft, that's more ballady. And there's something a little bit disjointed about the roughness of the vocal and the softness of the instrumentation. It's
I
it's a
love
little off-putting a little sometimes, but it works. It's great, and it works with the rest of the album, and it's why this song fits on the album. You know what I mean?
I love her rough vocals on this album. Like it's in Dancing
Yeah.
in Circles, like we said, it's
Yeah.
in AO, it's in John Wayne. Like I like when it's a little ragged.
But yeah, it really works for me. It's great.
Me too.
Totally. I love Joanne, like the title track as well. Like
Joan.
yeah, sorry, Joan. Yeah, the for exactly like the like what you pointed out, Stephanie, like like rougher vocals just adds such a unique flavor like across not only this album but kind of like her entire discography.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be one of the like most raw vocal takes like across the entire catalog, and that definitely helps stick it out. Did you say the rest of your favorites, Andrew? I don't want to cut you off.
Sure. I guess like I find the back end of the album like really interesting too. I really like Come to Mama. I really like what's it called? Hey Girl and Angel Down.
Hey
I like
Girl.
those three. I like those three songs together, like kind of exploring what we are talking about, like this matriarchal kind of angel idea here. I also like there's this interview with Lady Gaga where she was interviewed by Torre. I think this may have been like this. No, this is not. This is not the club. Club Plus. It's not that one. It's not that one. But like, it's by the same guy. But yeah, she was talking about like they were talking about like gay rights and like the parallels to like civil rights. She was kind of like, Torre was like, but you kind of need like Malcolm and Martin together. Like you kind of need those ideas. And like this is 2009, so probably her views has changed and evolved and like matured and such. But like she was like, no, I'm more Martin. I'm more like peace. I'm a pacifist. I don't like violence, all that such. So there's like this kind of this Come to Mama has this almost like she really sees the good in people. Like she really like has this like good faith approach to humanity of just like, which is like, I really like. I think it's very beautiful, like beautiful execution of this type of ethos. But then the standard album ending with Angel Down, of just like the senselessness of this tragedy and like our reaction to it, and then like the Trump era. I like how a lot of these songs can be supplemental of like, it could be about the Pulse Night shooting. It could be about Michael Brown, or like any like instance where the police like shoot a black teenager, a black kid. And then there's this kind of like, I actually don't have all the answers. And like, this is like really plaguing me. This is really disturbing me. And like, I think that balance makes Come to Mama work much more. That texture and that dimension to that idea.
I love that. And I think that crucially about like Angel Down, it's not a social issue song solely. Like it has the inspiration, but it's not solely like this is a statement about this. I feel like those never really work. It feels of a piece of the album and what the album is saying alongside, where you can see like, yeah, of course, she's got a really big heart. and sometimes like to her detriment. But again, like she always wears her heart on her sleeve. Seeing her in concert is crazy because like you truly feel like she is speaking to you, even though she's in a stadium. She's just so she has that ability to like reach through her music, reach through the stadium, and be like, you up there in the nosebleeds, this is for you.
That's that good. Listen, that's that good fucking. That's that good acting training.
That's
You know what I mean?
shit. Yes. I really do love this album as an Ally Main audition because it's like maybe she doesn't get Star is Born
Yeah.
without this album. Just say it.
It is
Yeah,
a
like-
little musical theatery too. Like there's like
Like,
I have a very soft spot for Grigio Girls, even though I don't think it's.
I like that song a lot,
Like,
too.
I love the sentiment of. I love a girls song, but it feels like it could be in a musical.
yes, I'm in the same boat. Where like the first time I heard it, I was like, girl.
Girl.
I love it.
I mean, like I heard it, I was like walking. I was taking a little walk for my mental health, and
Wow.
and that song came on, and I was like, this is on this re-listen. I was doing this, and I was like, I don't remember listening to this the first time. This is corny as fuck. And then I was like, so charmed.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so charming because it's like, how can you not kind of love her
It's hard,
on
yeah.
it? Spice Girl of this bitch, like, come on.
Six Spice Girl in this bitch.
This
Come on.
bitch,
I mean, this.
like-
I think what's charming to me about it, at least at this point in my life, is that like that's how I talk to my girlfriends. Like that's my girlfriends and I talk to each other.
We're aging into the wide mom demographic.
I know. Like, oh yeah. I mean, big 3-0. You know, right in there. But that is. It's like that's sort of that kind of like stupid like.
It's wine
You
o'clock
know.
somewhere.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. That's sort of
Target
stupid.
for sure.
Target for sure. That's stupid. Like that just stupid way that you talk to your girlfriends. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like individually we're all smart and together we're all kind of dumb, but we'll never tell men that because they already think we're dumb. So, you know, but we're all
But
kind
it's
of
like
dumb.
you look at these families. You look at these families like a maternal figure dies, or again, even like a strong female figure, the family falls apart.
Yeah.
It's a very, again, kind of like classical idea of like without a father, the family can endure, but without a mother,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And I want to like speak kind of like more. We're joking around. We're having fun. Like this is an after school special, but like this idea of like
Time to get serious.
but the idea of like she said in the Zach Sang interview of like what I envisioned when I was making this, I had this very strong vision of just like this woman, this mother who had 3 kids like kind of on her, and she had like a glass of wine, she had like makeup streaming down her face, and she was like, you know, crying and singing along to like some of these songs, and then she was like, that's me. That's me if I wasn't Lady Gaga. Like that's the type of person I would be. And then like if you think about this trope of like a mother like holding it together, like being a dependent for these children, but also kind of indulging in something that's kind of like destructive at the same time, while also like not getting the support she needs, and societally and financially and all that such, I think is it's beautiful that she wanted to speak to this.
And I think there's something I was looking at the lyrics again, and actually one of the things that hooked me on that song this time is, you know, the beginning lyrics. I was 23, she was 35, whatever, you know. And I'm 32, and I have a lot of friends who are in their 20s. I have especially a lot of girlfriends who are in their 20s, and they it's like I sort of make the joke that it's like very big sister vibe, because sometimes you just need a big sister. Sometimes you need a woman in your life who's gonna, you know, and the thing is, like, at 32, the things that a 25-year-old cares about are not important to me because I'm not 25 anymore. But like societally, we're so also ready to tell young women, like women broadly, but young women in particular, that the things that they care about aren't important. Like we do that. We do that constantly. I have a whole like running thesis about how like we diminish the things that young girls, teenage girls, young girls are like, they're shapers of culture, while at the same time being absolutely being absolutely ridiculed for the things they like and the way that they like them. But I think there's something really also validating about just like, you're crying about something that probably doesn't matter, but it matters to you right now, and we're gonna take care of it like it matters, right? And you'll process it the way you need to and how you need to and when you need to, but right now we need to just get you through it, you know. And we're gonna do it with white wine. God damn it.
I do think that that is like an appreciated angle for this, you know. I mean, me being like, you know, straight white cis dude, like the 1-2 punch of Hey Girl and Grigio Girls, like, you know, I can appreciate that. I don't think that like Grigio Girls has had any favors done to her by being in such close proximity to Hey Girl, while also Hey Girl essentially being Benny and the Jets with Florence and the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
You know,
good.
which
Sounds good.
which, you know, people could take or leave. Like I don't really know. I don't have like a temperature check for how everyone's feeling about Hey Girl these days. But I remember when this album came out, like people
You don't
were
have a
kind of
temperature check on how people are feeling about Hey Girl these days?
I don't. I know.
If someone's gonna do Elton John, it should be Lady Gaga. Just like if someone's gonna do Lady Gaga, it should be Chappell Roan.
It should be
Like you,
For sure.
like if you're gonna make damn sure that you kind of are like the singular artist of your generation
Yeah.
in that particular way. I'm surprised it took her this long to do like the Elton John piano ballad reference.
But she wasn't doing piano music up to that point.
So
you know what I mean?
true.
And then
Yeah.
and then not to fucking be a Chromatica stan again, but then she gets Elton. I think Elton John was actually supposed to be on this album, and I can't remember why it didn't work out. But then she has him on an album, and it's like a fucking electronic dance song. That's not a piano album at all, and it's great. Anyway.
Mhm.
This isn't about Chromatica, but it's like secret. It's a secret Chromatica episode.
But
Ian and
sure.
Joanne. I
Sorry,
will also
yeah.
say, I think when this album came out too, Grigio Girls and Another Day were not on it. I think the end of the album was actually Angel Down.
Yeah,
And
it's like
so
this
is like the
deluxe.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
like
also-
the additional version that has these on it. So original release would not have had those two songs that close together.
I think the deluxe, like my memory could be failing me, but I believe the deluxe came out on Spotify that day. But I recently switched over to YouTube Music. YouTube Music does not have Grigio Girls or Just Another Day
Oh,
attached to the album. Like it's on there. I
Yeah.
searched for them to listen to them again, but yeah, it definitely ends at Angel Down, which kind of screwed up my memories of this album because like I firmly remember this album ending with Just Another Day.
Oh, interesting.
Just another day. But like that's like
I didn't even hear
Anyway.
the audio, but I know exactly what you fucking did.
I think like Grigio's Girls is also sounds like the Zootopia song at the end of like that movie.
Okay,
Like,
that's rude.
The Shakira one?
yeah.
Andrew,
Try
that's
anything?
I think that's
funny
too
as
far.
fuck.
That's like you just said something way meaner than I did.
God.
I like it. That's a good song too.
Brooke's in a rage right now.
Anyways, let's go through lowlights. Any lowlights of this album?
Wait. I didn't say my highlights.
Yeah, what are you
Oh,
doing?
we did not
you
talk
don't. We know
about
you don't.
No,
have any.
no. I mean, highlight number 1 for me, Joanne. Highlight number 2, Perfect Illusion. Highlight number 3, favorite song on the whole record, Just Another Day.
Yeah,
I think Just Another Day needs more love. Like, even though it's only part of the deluxe edition, but I love that song. I love how much that plays into like this like theater kid version of like Springsteen and Bowie, and just like I was born for the stage. I'm just a rocker girl, like it's fun. It's got like the trumpet thing, and in the song she's like calling out her instrument.
I do like that. Yeah.
Her bandmates. It's like I mean, reading like the concept behind it is incomprehensible. They're like, Gaga, what inspired you to write this song? And she was like, well, I'm friends with Mark Ronson, and he's friends with Yoko Ono and John Lennon's kid. And so I just imagined, what if I was friends with them and we were children? Like, what the hell are you talking about? But it rules. I love I love it. It feels like the credits are
know that.
rolling, and it feels like a nice like little like good night hug the same way that like the SNL outro does. You know,
Yeah.
I just love it.
There's also something really nice about the ending, the button to an album about grief being "It's just another day." You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
totally.
Like that is something that's what I
Again,
like about that song.
Straps,
Yeah.
pick them up, get them on, go out to the fields, take your guitar. We have work to do.
I love it.
Yeah, I totally. I love like for all the faults that I find in this album, I do think that that ends on like a really pleasant note. And I also like was in Chicago when the Cubs won the World Series, so that just like I associate that song like partying during the Cubs World Series run, and that was just a good time.
Listen, they're doing good this year too. Could happen. I'm not trying to. I don't want to, but it could happen.
You would know more than me. I'm not a baseball guy.
I had no idea. I just did a show, and the designer on it was watching a Cubs game, and I was like, oh, and he's like, no, they're winning this year, and I was like, oh shit. So that's literally all I know. That could have changed in the
I was
last
gonna
6
say
weeks.
I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. Gotta root for the Cubs because I love an underdog.
And also, the Pope is from Chicago, so we're legally
Indeed.
married.
True. We do have the mandate of heaven now.
That's right.
Well,
The nicest thing we could do for him as a welcome to being the Pope president is the Cubs win the World Series.
Well, he that would actually like probably piss him off because he's a White Sox guy.
oh no, he made God mad, like being so woke, I guess, or like whatever. I guess like I don't know if he's woke or not. I don't care. But like I guess like. I guess like let's talk like lowlights and share observations. Let's kind of like group them together here. Speaking of Catholicism, that's like kind of a big through line in this album. Like, that's like kind of like she's kind of like reckoning where she came from, and like that's a big part of it. This like kind of Catholic guilt, this like sinner's prayer sort of idea here, but also like kind of this is also a great addiction album. This is a great I think a very telling interview moment I saw was the Zane Lowe interview where Lady Gaga casually said, "Yeah, I quit smoking cigarettes," and then like Zane Lowe was being a little obnoxious and saying like, "Did you really quit cigarettes?" Like, and she's like, "Okay,
That was a
not
great
really."
Zane Lowe impression.
Like, I love him. I love it. I think he's like great at what he does, but sometimes he's obnoxious. But like he was like really like kind of like pressing her on it, and she was like, "No, I smoke. I do a little drag every so often." And then he was like, but she was like, "But that's like better than what I was doing before, where I was like smoking a pack a day versus just like taking a little drag here and there." And like I think that's like a metaphor for like where she is in her addiction journey at this point of her career of just like, yeah, it is better that like she's like has this self-awareness and like has this sort of like honesty of her patterns and her talks like kind of like this, but like she's also like painting it very honestly like where I'm like, that's not good. Like I do the John Wayne, the song about like how she like travels through a hurricane to get through the eye of the storm where she feels love. Like that's no good. Like a million reasons why you don't want to stay with someone, but give me one good. That's not good. Like that's not a good situation you're in. Yeah, like yeah, and then just like even like dancing in circles, like this idea of like kind of dancing in circles in relationship to perfect illusion of just like, you know, the environment she is isn't like conducive to like healing in the best way possible.
Yes, it's not just a song about masturbation. It's a song about feeling lost and feeling lonely and feeling unlovable.
Yeah. And like masturbating is you're creating perfect illusions.
It is a perfect illusion.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
There are layers here, people. Layers.
Well, and it's not a song where I think there's been some pop songs that are like varying degrees of like thinly veiled songs about masturbation, and they're like, oh my god, it's like the greatest thing on the planet. And in Dancing in Circles, she's like, I'm just doing this because I'm bored. Like, which I think is
true.
refreshing.
I do appreciate that. Yeah, this is like the response to Green Day, that one Green Day song.
Masturbation's lost its fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Whatever that was.
Like, I hope they're all right. Yeah, I guess like, and then just like the idea of like kind of to a lot of like not all the addiction like kind of support groups, but a lot of them kind of are utilize like a higher power to like kind of get out of like their situation, and also like this kind of like humbling yourself, repenting kind of idea here. But it's also like that I think like that's very beautiful, but it's also like people can be taken advantage of, and like it's very very vulnerable. So I think I really admire that lens of this album too. So that's just a straight observation.
I love it. I think that's a great straight observation. I don't really have that many lowlights. Probably Angel Down, TBH. It's a beautiful song. It's just not my fave. And probably Million Reasons for this. I can't believe that was a single. That was crazy to me, but
Million
whatever.
Reasons, yeah.
Yeah.
Million Reasons is super fun, like belt along to, but I don't
Yes.
think it is a great song. Now, I will also say, like I don't feel like there's really any skips on this album. I think it's
I
like
agree.
9s and 5. I think the ones I don't like are like still a fucking 5 or 6. You know what I mean? So there's no like hard nose. But yeah, Million Reasons I don't love. I gotta be honest, I don't love Hey Girl. I'm sorry to the feminist.
Wow.
Wow. She said she was a girl's girl. She lied.
But like you love Florence, yeah.
I know,
Like
I do, but that song just doesn't, there's something about it, it just doesn't hit for me. I don't think it does, like I love Florence, but that's not a Florence and the Machine song. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't highlight her.
Agree.
She is effective for me.
Florence like doesn't tap it. Like Florence hides her power level in that
She
song.
just-
It's
she
She's
does.
just hanging.
Yeah.
it's like so strange because she is like kind of belting like a little bit, but like she's not belting the Florence Welch
No.
belt, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
she does best on like she's like
She's
a
not
Maggie
welching.
Rogers for me. She's not welching. She's like a Maggie Rogers for me where like do I think that they're objectively amazing vocalists? Maybe not, but they're really good at the thing that they do. Like they're really the thing that their lane is great. Like Florence does great on like soul music and anything adjacent to that. And then anything that's not that, it's like hit or miss for me. And it's not a skip. I'll never skip it, but it's not gonna be like I remember the first time I listened to this album 9 years ago, like the song that stuck with me was John Wayne. And Hey Girl just does not do that
So
for me.
real of you.
The hook is
John
so
Wayne is
good.
so good.
The you know what I mean? But like hey, the songs that I don't like on this album just don't stick for me in that way. And that's like that's kind of the worst thing I can say about them because I think they're all great. So
I like the Princey outro at John Wayne. Like a song that didn't necessarily call for that. Like I like it there. Like it's awesome. Any other stray observations, lowlights? Like Dakota, do you have like lowlights? Like, you know, just like that still hold up for you?
the existence of the I'm just kidding.
I know. You were much warmer on this album than I expected.
I know. I thought you came in, you were like, I hated it, and you actually
He's a softie.
Like I don't know, like I want to be like respect like I didn't
Okay,
exactly
I'm
have
also
many
pro
inroads.
bullying.
I didn't have many inroads to like shit on things, you know, when people are like, oh, you know, this made me think of like my generational family trauma and like, you know, like it's really cool that she sang about the Pulse nightclub shooting in Trayvon Martin. Like I'm supposed to come in and be like, nah, that actually fucking sucked. Like I'm not gonna do that. But like, you know, the lowlights to me, like on the whole, this album doesn't really do it to me. Are there a ton of like actual like lowlights where I'm like that is nails on a chalkboard? Not really. It's just kind of like I would agree. I think that Hey Girl kind of wanders into a little bit like too much like girl power where it's like I'm not gonna be like tone it down, ladies.
Tone it down.
I think you can say tone it
That's
down,
enough.
lady.
That's enough girl power for you for the day.
Yeah, like but you know that song really like
It's no
like,
fight song, but
yes. Yeah. I mean that song really just feels like an uncanny valley of Benny and the Jets. Like when it came on during my re-listen to this, I like I kept doing one of these, like tilting my head. Yeah. Million Reasons though, I agree. I think that one like that takes me back to just watching football when this came out and all the commercials that song was playing on.
Oh my.
But yeah, like I think that those two are the like most glaring ones. I think that Angel Down's kind of a weird note for the standard edition to end on. But like I said, like I'm just jamming Just Another Day. Like that's where I'm memory hold at. So it will remain to be that.
I agree with you in that, like, I judge albums by their deluxe or their extended editions almost exclusively. Like, someone will be like, well, that's the final track. So I'm like, no, it isn't. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
I will say, actually, Diamond Heart, not my favorite. We didn't. That was like the one
I like the
one
drums.
song we didn't talk about.
Yeah,
Like
I think
I
that's
like it
like
as
the
an
most
album
important.
opener, but it feels like a warm up. Do you know what I mean? It feels like when you go see Lady Gaga in concert, or you go see what, and there's always an opener, and like, or like when you go see stand up, there's always somebody who warms up the crowd. And like Diamond Heart is like a great album opener in that, but it just doesn't like do a lot for me. I don't feel like it says a lot or does a lot, but it's just because, and also because it's followed by AO, which I think is a great fucking song. It's kind of like, oh, that song is there.
I was gonna
The-
say
you
if
know?
if I have limited time, I'm skipping Diamond Heart and I'm going over to AO.
The delivery on Diamond Heart when she actually says Diamond Heart is strange. Like I always feel like she's gonna like hit another gear, but she's just like Diamond Heart. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say about that.
No, no, no.
Yeah, 'cause
like
it's,
any.
yeah, it like breaks the like scan because she's got it in like it's almost like a it's like a sonnet, like a Shakespeare sonnet, where it's like there's there's like a bunch of rhyming couplets, and then the last like 4 lines are like out of anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get it.
I like the little like I like the lines of like daddy's girl never good enough, and then contrast with good thing I know what I'm worth. Like those things are both true at the same time. Like just like kind of introducing the themes here and like the contradictory nature of like where she is in her life. But that's I think I like the drums in that song a lot, and like the like the one like that part of the song, you know what I'm talking about. That's it. Like, that's all I got.
keep vocally miming it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's go through final thoughts and ratings. The way this works is we'll rate this album out of 10 with a fun metric at the end. Who would like to go first?
I can go. I really do love this album. I think that it is very indicative of kind of like how kind of like classic Americana talks about stories, talks about like how these family kind of like moments are passed down and passed through and what you have to make of them and what you have to make of the world. And also like it has a lot of bangers. People think of this as such a slow album, but like it has major bangers. I love to put this on in the car with like the windows down. It makes me feel like I'm in Thelma and Louise. And I'm gonna rate it 9.5 pink cowboy hats out of 10. I understand
Pink
this is
cowboy hats.
exactly that is a subjective rating. It is not an objective rating.
What would you
Uh,
objectively get it? Like where do you think it sits kind of in
8
that
out of,
space.
8 out of 10. So still like really high. I think it's a good album. I really do. I just look at what has followed artistically from other people that use Lady Gaga as a blueprint, either intentionally or unintentionally. And that makes you be like, she nailed it.
Yeah, I'll go next. I would give this 7 machine gun heels in the John Wayne video out of 10. Like, I love that video. It's so I watched it a few times preparing for this. Yeah, I do think this is like a kind of transitory album of like kind of figuring out how she's going to endure in the new decade, like, you know, beyond just like a remember Lady Gaga? She was weird, you know, or like those were some bops, you know, kind of that idea. Like, remember Art Pop, you know, 2013? That was pretty cool. Like, enduring another decade, like, kind of like setting the stage for the Ally Mains and Chromaticas and Mayhems. I think that's a really, so I think you needed this to get to that. But yeah, I do feel like she's not using her full power on this. Like, there are just like little moments where I'm like, the songwriting just needs like, I wanted her to go a little deeper. I wanted her to get a little darker. Like a lot of this, I had to. I don't know if like when we were talking about themes, I don't know if I would have gotten that if I didn't do research on it. Like I don't know if I would have like really been able to like kind of get into this territory with just the text, you know, just the songs themselves. Like I had to like kind of. I guess that's the fun of a pop star too. Like you know, kind of like reading the intertextual parts of it, but
The lore.
yeah, the lore and such.
This is probably her most lore heavy album, like by far.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, easily.
yeah. But yeah, I like it a lot. There's some great songs. I think it's like probably my least favorite of the ones we've listened to for the show so far. But yeah, I enjoyed myself. I'm happy she made it. And there's songs I certainly will revisit and like, but in full, I don't know if I'll ever revisit the whole thing like
Okay.
for a while at least.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
And Brooke's like, I'm not coming back until you listen to Joanne again.
maybe I'm like maybe when I'm like walking into Target and not buying anything, I could do that.
I
Like,
think that's
With your
really
white wine in the cup.
incredible thoughts on the album, though, despite maybe not being like, oh, I have to go running back to this. So I think that speaks to you and Dakota's and Stefanie's skills all
Thank
as
you.
like music critics.
oh, you're so nice. I admire you so deeply, so that means a lot.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. Okay, Dakota, let you talk now.
Oh, yeah. I think that this is very much a soul-searching album for Gaga. I'm happy to report, obviously that there was a happy ending to all this. It seems like she's really gotten to a better place creatively and personally with Chromatica and Mayhem and everything, and that she had a lot of stuff to sort out. I don't think that she did so on this album, but I do agree that this is an album that she needed to make. I'm going to give this 3 acknowledgments to Brian Newman out of 10.
Wow.
Ooh, that is a devastatingly low
That
rating.
is
Wow.
Like, like,
This is about like the
That's-
times of like
Damn.
the
all right, well, like,
Listen,
like,
hey, you're allowed to have your own opinions.
Yeah,
man. It's
don't
just
don't
like,
like,
wow,
don't
that was
cave under peer pressure.
okay, Mr. Man.
no, I'm holding my ground here. Okay, now that nobody's talking about family trauma or anything, this is the safe space
Why
where we
is
can
The
like
real
unload.
Dakota.
I'm just what were you gonna say, Andrew?
You would like this album if it was like Miller Lite Men or whatever. Just like the
Oh,
song.
first off, it would be Bud Light, like the bar tour that she did.
Indeed.
But no, I think that like if I do like a Gaga run, like she has a beefy enough catalog now where like that's quite the commitment to want to run through all of her stuff. I just think that like she's done everything on this album better somewhere else. Like, does anything on this album hold a candle to Speechless, which is my favorite Gaga album? I don't think so. And I think that song hits a pretty similar vibe to this album, but hits it in, I feel, a far more like authentic and grand way. So, it's just like I would really, really have to be putting my little monster paws up to listen to this again for me. Other than Just Another Day, like, great stuff.
I think this album does make Speechless a little better too. Like knowing a little more about their history. Like I think it makes it a little better.
I mean, I don't need an excuse to praise Speechless. That is the anthem of an entire species.
Stefanie, where are you at with the rating?
I like this album. I remember liking it when I first listened to it. And actually, I didn't actually listen to it in full until we did it again for this podcast. And I still like it. I'm glad that like my memory of liking it holds up. And it's fun to go back to it, having now heard her albums beyond this. Because yeah, I think that everything she's done on this album, she's done better later. But I also love to watch an artist evolve in real time. It's thrilling. It's kind of obnoxious when like, I don't know, the Maroon 5s of the world, let's say, not to compare Maroon 5 and Lady Gaga, but like when you kind of just produce the same slop over and over again, it's hard to enjoy that, but this is delightful, right? But yeah, I like it as an album. For me, my rating is going to be, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 million reasons. But yeah, I do still,
That's
I
funny.
do really like it.
Wow. I came in way hot. That's okay.
I love it.
No,
I
you're
love
fine.
it.
I'm kind of I just in her
Her oeuvre.
like I don't think it's like on my list of like all-time favorite albums. I think it's good, but I also don't even think it's like her best.
You know what? I completely agree. But what's so wild to me, I think about my feelings about this album is that like I'll be like, oh, I'm such a huge Joanne defender. And they'll be like, is it your favorite Lady Gaga album? And I'm like, no, but like it almost lives in a separate world where like it's a very special kind of like I would put it in like albums that I think like are most important to me versus like best. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
That's totally fair.
Yeah. And I think I like it more. I wish I had listened to it more when I was younger, when it first came out, because I like it more now than I probably did when I was younger, because I do think it is like a little more mature. Actually, in the same way, this isn't about this album either, but in the same way that I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'm actually kind of a Taylor Swift hater, but I do really like Lover because I think that's also her 30th year album. And I think that's also like a very mature.
That's my favorite.
Anyway,
yeah.
I also love Lover for what it's worth. I feel like I gave it a straight earlier.
I'm an apologist on it, but in the same way that I'm kind of an apologist on this. But anyway, I kind of agree. It like lives in its own world. I'm probably gonna put it back in my rotation of things to listen to. And I think it's gonna get a renaissance the way art pop did, because nobody fucking got art pop, and then 10 years later everybody was like, this is great. And next year we're gonna have 10 years of Joanne, and I think people are gonna be like, we owe Lady Gaga an apology for how mean we were during Joanne.
Also, like, if you like country music, I think this is a great album to put in like the country rotation, because it's like an actual country album and not just a country song.
I will be interested to see like if this album ever gets sort of like the revisit treatment that some pop albums have, like, you know, like art pop. Because I would be, in a way, I feel like people weren't ready for this album. Like, regardless of my feelings on this or not, like, this kind of just dropped in a weird environment with, like, the pop landscape and also what Lady Gaga was kind of publicly. Like, you know, this album came out and then a couple months later, like, her stock went way up from doing the Super Bowl. And it was like, I feel like after that, she moved on very quickly by dropping The Cure and being like, just kidding, Joanne era's done. Like,
what a song. What a song.
Yeah, and I love The Cure, but like I think she briefly did like Million Reasons in the Super Bowl, but it was kind of very quickly, like she did the tour, the Bud Light tour. then it was The Cure, and she disappeared for a couple of years and came back with like Chromatica, and it's kind of been like I am Gaga ever since. Whereas like this one was, you know, let me tell you about my Italian family.
That's the other name for this. That was like the working title of this album. But yeah, like
the Sun and House of Gaga. Yeah,
exactly.
Haunted by House of Gaga.
haunted by the House of Gaga.
Oh, but yeah, I just want to thank you, Brooke and Stefanie. Like, you know, this is so fun. Like, to connect with my Grigio girlies here. Yeah, like it was so wonderful. I really appreciate your perspective. I really, it's. This podcast is also usually like a super sausage fest. Like it's like a lot of dudes come by. Like, so yeah, I had a great time. Brooke, anything you'd like to plug?
I co-host a podcast called the Queer Quadrant with my friend Jordan Gustafson. I don't know if you're keeping in all the stuff that we talked about at the beginning, but if you haven't or heard us talk,
what are some of your favorite episodes? Like,
if you haven't heard us talk ad nauseum about it, we discuss 4 quadrant blockbusters and the queer subtext within them. Highly recommend our Challengers episode. It's pretty fun. Highly recommend our Conclave episode if you want.
Emily St. James.
If you're interested in some Catholicism. And we have yet to do a Lady Gaga movie, but I would like to. I'm not sure which one it would be. I mean, if I could pick anything, we don't do TV, but American Horror Story Hotel is like an incredible Lady Gaga bisexual.
Probably like if the movie's probably, you know, House of Gucci. Like
I was gonna say, we could do House of Gucci. She had that interview where she was like, Penelope Cruz and I were gonna kiss in the mud baths, and I was like, where is it? Release the cut.
Release the Gaga cut.
Yeah, you can
release the Gaga.
You can find me at Brooke Solomon, and you can find the podcast at Queer Quadrant, and listen wherever you're listening to this podcast. Thank you for having me. This is always a great time. Next time, I want to come talk about Halsey. I'm throwing down the gauntlet.
Wait, which one?
I mean, any, but if I can't have love, I want power is like my top 5 favorite albums of all time.
Isn't the spooky one, right?
That's with the boob and the baby. The Madonna.
They're all spooky.
Say, is it spookier than Badlands? Because Badlands is scary.
I would also talk about Badlands in a heartbeat.
There's
Yeah.
there's a couple ones on The Great Imposter too that I'm
Mhm.
like just kind of chilling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Halsey's
I
sticky.
I have a very long relationship with the music of Halsey. So
Love it.
that's I'm ceding that
TB
Yeah.
continued.
to be continued.
I prefer the male version, ballsy.
Boo.
All right, you're in timeout for that.
Anyways, goodbye. I was doing It Wasn't Love, the music. I'm like also like I don't want to like hit anything. This is not my house. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day. Click.